What's your story? Whether you're a client or an independent financial advisor, we know you face many important decisions that can affect your and your clients' long-term financial success. Welcome to the WIN Podcast, What's Important Now with Grace Heimensen, accredited investment fiduciary and president of Heimensen Wealth Advisors. In this podcast, Corey helps you identify your goals and objectives through financial education and comprehensive planning, while inspiring you to make better behavioral decisions in your personal finance. With a twist on pop culture and current events, join us as we explore growth and protection strategies for individuals, advisors, and their businesses. Come and discover what's important to you now.
And welcome to the WIN Podcast with Grace Heimensen. Corey, really good to be with you again. I'm really excited about your guest today in particular.
Well, we like to shuffle it up a little bit, and as I joked before we started here, it'd be easy for me to bring in guests that are just like me. Ones that dress like me, walk, talk, act like me.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Did you just quote Eminem?
Wow, the guest is sharp. I did just quote Eminem. Perhaps I was the real Slim Shady before the Slim Shady. Ooh, she's sharp. But anyway, wow. And for some of the listeners, they might have, I don't know if that was enough voiceover to catch who the guest is, but this is a repeat guest. And so this is my daughter, Grace, who's a college student, but we actually had her on in episode 25. I looked back at this. And today is episode 50. Who'd have thunk?
Wow.
Yeah, this was not planned, but and what's really funny is the production company, when I first signed up for this gig, they told me the average length of podcast shows or releases in our country is 6.
No.
So take that. We brought 50. We destroyed the average.
Well, first, congratulations. And second, Grace, nice to meet you. And honored to have you on episode 50.
Yes, I'm excited.
Well, and she isn't aware of that. Bill, you're not aware of this either, but this is my declaration. We're not going anywhere. We're going to keep bringing this thing, and the next stop is 100.
Yes, I'll be back.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So it's funny. I'll give one more plug to that last episode of number 25. The title of that show was Maybe the Youth of Today Are Not So Mixed Up After All.
Ooh.
And so Grace, brought the Gen Z vibe or millennial, whatever you are. And it's interesting because now a year's gone by and the world did not end.
No.
so I guess I was onto something there. But anyway, our title today is The Elimination of Hurry. And so people are probably scratching their head like, what does that mean? What does that mean? And so because my daughter here, Grace, doesn't exactly think like me, or she's more of a free spirit, maybe more of a philosophical thinker. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah,
Grace?
I'd say so, yeah.
So I challenged her to bring a book that we can maybe talk about.
Yeah. So this book I read around a year and a half ago, but it's one of those books my friends at college, a lot of us have read it, and it's kind of an easy read, but it has a lot of wisdom in it, and it kind of makes you look at, I would say, society in a different way, because America, we are very much like a hurry culture, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's fair.
In fact, when Corey sent me the name of this book that we're going to be talking about, I had a reflexive, weird, surprising reaction with myself, because I was like, the Ruthless Elimination of Hurry? Are you kidding me? I can't get rid of hurry. There's no way I can get rid of hurry.
Well, and we're not just eliminating it, it's going to be ruthless.
Yeah, we're going to ruthlessly eliminate it. Good luck.
Oh, and it's funny because when I think of philosophy, it takes me back to college. And so I was in college in my first year, and I had to take, some of those general, is that what they call them, Grace?
Yeah.
General classes.
Like gen eds. Yeah.
So I think it was the first day. I go in there and I'm in a philosophy class. And the teacher makes us, or the professor makes us sit in a circle, and she says, we're going to go around the room and we want you each to ask your greatest, deepest, most philosophical question. I'm like, oh God, what does this mean? So luckily they start on the other side of the room, and this is going downhill in a hurry because I'm like, my brain is not wired like these cats in this room. And so it gets to me, and suddenly something came to me, and I thought, I think I got this. And I said, think of a circle. Where does the circle begin and where does it end? And I think I said it just like that, and nobody laughed. And everybody looked at me like I was the dumbest business major in the room, which I was the only business major in the room. I think everybody else was on the path. And yeah, so that was also the time, well, if I go to the end of the semester, fast forward, that's when I learned that C's get degrees. My straight A's from high school turned into maybe a strong C+, B- average in college, but it is what it is. I'm here today.
Yeah, my college professors, they say, well, they want us to do good, but it's really about the connections you make at school is pretty much what helps get you jobs anywhere.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. They want you to get jobs so you can donate back to the university later. So anyway, that's my claim to fame on philosophy, so I'll step aside from there. But I'll throw it back to you, Grace. I mean, and Bill can jump in too. I mean, are there any, key points or key takeaways, or where do you want to go down the path on this thing?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a lot of good points. One of the points that I really liked in this book was talking about balance. I feel like at any point of life, it's hard to find balance. For me at school, sometimes I'm on the dance team, and then I have school, and then I have a bunch of different friends I want to hang out. And one of my friends, we were talking, and it's one of those things where it's like you have to realize you will not have balance in life all the time. Some weeks I might be with certain friends more than others. And a different week, I might be balancing something else. And this book kind of touches on that.
And that mindset of balance, or trying to, I don't want to say keep score, but to keep everybody happy in one's life. Essentially, maybe that ties into hurry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because some weeks I found like I need more time to myself, and other weeks you can put more into other people.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's the joy of life, is that everybody should have their own balance, should have their own fun things. You know what I mean? Or what fuels them, or what drives them,
Yeah. Yeah, so that's something that stuck out to me a lot.
Okay, so what else you got? Got another point?
Yeah. Well, one point in the book that I thought was interesting is talking about rest. So there was one quote in it that says, to fully rest one day of the week, you must slow down the other 6, which that kind of caught me off guard, because I always think of like Sunday, like it's my day, go to church with friends, and then go get groceries, hang out, clean.
Still got a routine.
Yeah, I still got a routine. But then the other days I'm like doing so much, but it's talking about just every day kind of resting.
Well, and when I saw this book and started reading it, the first thing that jumped at me was I thought of social media and phones, because this is a weird kick of mine or trait. If I'm in a public place, I enjoy looking around and sort of gauging how many people are on their phones. So if I'm at a restaurant, waiting room, or especially an airport is really key. I mean, you look around and it's like, if anybody has a spare minute, they would rather get on their phone and scroll and look at meaningless. I shouldn't say that. Some stuff might be valuable, but a lot of meaningless stuff. So essentially they're doing nothing. And now this is going to, in turn, increase the hurry that comes later because they wasted time.
Yeah. Also, I think this book talked about, a lot of times I think people will, if you're done with work or you have time away from your kids, wherever you are in life, you'll pull out your phone and that's your rest. But really, you're just getting all this more information in your brain. You're not really truly, it's not like the true form of rest. You're almost hurrying to check every social media app you have. And I kind of lately I've realized, like if I go on TikTok, sometimes I'll get off and I'll be like, I don't even remember what I watched. Like, what was the point of that?
You know what? I can relate to that one. And it's interesting because what I have found, and I've cut back on my time on social media, is that somehow, some way, I fall down this time hole. I get lost in time, and then I end up feeling really anxious because, Grace, as you say, I don't remember what I did for the last 25 minutes, in terms of like what I watched. I couldn't tell you. And I've got things to get done, and they're not getting done. And it leads, oddly, not to a sense of having rested and sort of enjoyed myself for a little bit of time, but it gives me anxiety that I haven't done things that I need to do.
Mm-hmm. So in theory, are we saying that basically scrolling or being on your phone, essentially being in a state of no motion, you're not really doing anything. It's creating a distraction from reality. This is getting deep.
Yeah.
Maybe I am philosophical. So what we're talking about is distraction. You know what I mean? We're wasting time on things. And I could tie this to finance if I wanted to, but I mean, sometimes people get distracted by things that aren't important.
Yeah. Well, I've heard something where people say like, oh, I wish I have like 3 more hours in the day. But if you think about that, like, what would you do with those 3 more hours,
More Snapchat.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's one of those things where it's like, we always have so much things to do, but then sometimes the book talks about maybe stopping and looking at everything you do. And some of those things you'll find out like, they're not helping you very much,
Are you almost saying like being intentional, maybe with your actions
more like
and your thinking?
Being like intentional and then being simplistic, like kind of looking at your life and realizing, some things you may not need, because it feels like everything we kind of have in society, a lot of things that kind of add up together, and then we want to keep doing them all, and then it makes us more hurried and stressed to do it all.
Well, and I think it was the last episode we released was about organization and simplifying your things. You don't need 74 T-shirts that all say the same thing on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking, I think it was you the other week or something, but something about how, there's always new technologies or just stuff people like that they want to buy. But a lot of times we think about having the money to buy it, but not necessarily the time it goes into. Like if you buy a boat, you're not just paying for the boat. You're also think about, do you have the time to, go use the boat and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a deep question. I mean, people don't think about that.
No.
They don't think about the repercussions of their spending, essentially, especially on a fun ticket item like that.
Yeah.
Ongoing maintenance, storage, and time. Time is valuable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something I'm finding as I get older. And actually, Bill has a birthday or two on me, I think. So I don't know if he agrees or if he thinks that way.
Wait a minute here, Corey.
I'll probably send you new tennis balls for your walker, Bill. It'll be fine.
Thank you.
That wasn't very nice, was it? Jeez. But it's a journey through life, and maybe it's part of the aging process is the hurry thing too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying every young person lives in urban or city areas, but I think that's where younger people want to be, maybe, because that's where the hustle and the bustle is. But eventually, Bill can atone to this. He's been a big city guy. And, eventually maybe you want to graduate to the suburbs or maybe even beyond the city and back to rural type America. I don't know.
Well, what's interesting about that, Corey, is that it's like my perspective on hurry has changed over time, because growing up was not a hurried individual, not a hurried person. And, as I got older and I got more involved in my profession, because I was a journalist and worked in television news and did television, news and business and financial journalism. And I had deadlines and things got hurried, and I got suddenly, you just get used to a faster and faster and faster and faster pace. And you don't realize kind of where you are. And, when I saw the title of this book, one of my reactions is it made me step back and think, whoa, man, I need to stop and ponder this for a moment, be mindful, if you will, and think about this, because it's funny how you can lose your perspective on hurry. And yeah, hopefully as you age and, you will get enough wisdom to think, wait a minute here, but that's hard to do. I have to say, Grace, I'm kind of curious. Does the author talk about like coming to the realization that maybe you're a little more hurried than you thought you were, and how to get unhurried, as it were?
Yeah, I think he did talk about, he had some points on like the solution of like when you're very like hurried in life. And like we were talking about earlier, a lot of people, they may think it's more time, but you know, we can't add more time in the day. So.
Well, yeah. And I think, I'm almost having a breakthrough myself here. I'm going off on a tangent. That's what I do, Grace, if you've ever listened to the show. You know, because I'm even thinking, and Bill can attest to this too, what you're saying is accurate, because at the start of last year, I told my wife I was going to try and take 10 days off during the year.
Okay.
Wow, 10 days.
10 vacation days. And the year got done and I took 4. And she reminded me of that.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, you know, would the office have shut down? Would have things fell through the cracks if I had just taken 6 more days off? No, we got good people here, you know. So to your point, Bill, you get caught up in the race.
Mm-hmm.
And you get, I don't know if I'd want to say addicted to it, but you enjoy the hustle, but pretty soon you don't realize it, but the hustle is maybe owning you.
Yeah.
Yep. Look, Corey, I'll do you one better. At one point in my career, I had earned, at the company I was working for, I had earned 6 weeks of vacation that I could take a year. I took 2. And nobody paid me for the unused vacations, Corey. But I just took 2. And it was like, you know, and I kept thinking, God, do I want to take more time? And I'm like, no, I don't have time to take more time. And I'm comfortable when I take more time. So I hear you.
Yeah, no, that's spot on, you know, and in my head now I'm wondering, could all of this be exactly why a lot of people struggle with retirement? And I'm not talking financial struggle. I'm talking they walk out on Friday afternoon, somebody hands them a coffee mug and a banker's box to load up their stuff, you know, and then suddenly it's shut off.
Yeah, and then it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, so Monday morning you get up, or maybe you go do those things you said you're going to do. I'm going to go volunteer. I'm going to go play golf. I'm going to go catch fish. And then about 3-4 weeks later, you're like, well, damn it, I kind of did everything that was on the fun list.
I went there and did that. Now what?
Yeah, you know, and suddenly reality kicks in. So, I mean, I think the point of that is tying retirement into this hurry or this rat race should not be a birthday on the calendar that says, hey, you're at the age you're done. It's really got to be a total mind and body, brain and heart type decision. Or maybe it's like when you walk into the ocean, you gradually go in. And maybe that's what people should think about in retirement. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, with the whole hurry thing, it's just, first realizing it. Like if you're kind of living always in a hurry, like I think the book mentions, you know, if you're driving, there's some people that just nice, go with the flow. And then there's those people that get right on you and they're honking their horn. And it's like, most of us are going to get in the same place at the same time. Yeah. So is it worth like hurrying? And it's better to just maybe just kind of be present, you know, look around you.
Yeah. When I'm driving in the city and there's like 2 lanes going the same direction or more, I'm notorious for, if I'm going to make a left turn in 7 blocks, I'm going to get in that left lane right now. Yeah. And my wife is all about, no, Corey, you stay in the right lane and you only go to the left lane if you're passing or if you're about to go into the turning lane, you know, and I just still keep doing it. I don't know. Maybe it's just ingrained in my head that I don't want to have to make a U-turn and hear about that. So, no. But, you know, or the grocery store. I mean, don't people usually just go to the shortest line in the grocery store because they want to get on to something else?
Yeah, which I mean, it is kind of hard to stand in the long line, but if you think about it, every once in a while, if you just waited in a long line, like, I don't know, maybe you'll run into someone, have a conversation, or like the last time I flew home in the airport, the line was like so long trying to like get on the airplane. And then usually, you know, everyone's on their phone, kind of like we're talking earlier, but there are these people behind me, like an older couple. And I heard them talking about something that was interesting, something I just learned at school. So I, you know, started a conversation with them. And, you know, it's just, I'd rather make a connection with someone than sit on my phone, you know?
That's a good point. I mean, and they probably appreciated that. Yeah. And you did too, if you're still talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were, super nice people.
Yeah, that's great. That is great. You know, Corey, I got a schooling in this a long, long time ago because I used to be a taxi driver in San Francisco.
Did not know that.
Yeah. And taxi drivers are not known for not being hurried, okay? and and I picked up a client, and she gave me an address where she was going to. And then I got stuck in traffic, and then I started being a taxi driver, and I was being kind of aggressive and loud, and and from the back seat, this woman goes, "Hey, hey, hey." And I was like, "What?" And she goes, "Let it go." And I said, "What?" She said, "Let it go. Let it roll off of you like water off a duck's back." She said, "Just let it go. It's okay." And she said, "Do you know where you're taking me?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Okay. I'm a bartender in this bar, and it's Sailors Week. It's Ship Week in San Francisco. What kind of night do you think I'm going to have?" And she said, "So just let it go. It's all going to be okay, and it'll all be fine." And, from time to time, I have to say, Corey and Grace, I do think of her. Just as a reminder, it's like, wait, and it is tied into this process of hurry. Don't hurry. Just relax. The traffic is what it's going to be. You can't change that traffic. And you're right, Grace. I may get there like 5 seconds before you if I'm being really aggressive by driving.
Yeah.
But hey, let it go because it's spoiling the moment. It's spoiling the moment.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about both of your stories right there, kind of a chance encounter that essentially has stuck in your brain for a long, long time.
Yes.
And it was something you didn't buy. It was an experience you didn't pay for. It wasn't a new TV or the newest gimmick. You know what I mean? So the best things in life are bigger than us. And it comes back to relationships. I mean, we talk about relationships on this show all the time, of professional business relationships, but your family, true wealth isn't a big ass pile of money. I mean, that's what people think it is.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah, it's like I think most important things are like experiences I remember, and that might be with friends or random people I meet, but that means a lot more than me than, I mean, yes, it is nice to have money saved so you're not like super stressed, but if I'm only thinking about money all the time, like I'm just going to be stressed about that when we were made for human connection.
Fair. Well, let's think about this. So if the best things in life or wealth are experiences, do you think those are hurried encounters? Probably not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not going to be like, "Oh, I met Mike Tyson on an elevator." Well, I mean, that'd be kind of cool. But,
Yeah.
I mean, the true best experiences are probably shared with somebody you know or just met, and they're not a 1-minute encounter. Probably there's something that's lasting from that moment, and it just makes us all think in a deeper way. Now, I'm going to walk out of this room and go right back to my wealth management job
Right.
and work at a fast pace. But it is good for everybody to probably have a moment of reflection once in a
Just
while.
slowing down. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether that's in the mirror in the morning or over coffee or driving to work. I mean, whatever that means.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean like, obviously, if we all slow down way too much, like that's not what this book is saying to do. It's more like, yes, we all work, but when you get home, maybe at the end of the night, take your time to just rest, be with your family, instead of like running around the house, like putting this away, this, and having to do this thing.
Yeah. Recognize and be present.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And I think that resonates with your job, your relationship with a spouse or loved one. You know what I mean? We can carry that a long ways. And man, I feel like I'm turning into a philosophy man.
You're the philosophical dude. No, it is absolutely true. It was funny. I had an office mate one time, and he was changing jobs, and he just had the second kid, and he was moving out of New York and all the way over to the West Coast. And we were just talking, and he said, "No, it's been nice knowing, working with you and stuff." And I said, "I just want to say one thing before you go." And he's like, "What?" And I said, "You overhear me having conversations with my kids all the time." And I said, "If I were going to give anybody any advice, I would just say to you as a young dad of young kids, spend time with your kids, because when they're gone, when they go off to college and they no longer are there all the time, you suddenly realize, wow, they're gone. And I said, I'm really fortunate because I spent a lot of time with my kids growing up when I wasn't at work, because they were involved in athletics and stuff. And I would go and I would, be involved with all of that stuff to the extent that I could. And it's amazing how much that really does help your perspective when you sort of stop to say, these are the really important things. And, yes, it's important that you plan for your financial future. Yes, it is important that you save money. Yes, it is important that you do those things. But the things that are the most meaningful, you couldn't put a dollar value on for all the money in the world.
Well, yeah, totally. You're spot on. And in the big scorecard of life, we go, it's not money. You know what I mean? At the end of the trail, it's going to be a collection of everything you just said. Yeah. And that'll be not really your day of judgment, but I mean, there'll be a reflection point for each person when they know maybe the end is closer than away, when they have that recollection of all these things and almost essentially see if they did it right.
Yeah. Yeah. It brings up a question I have for you, Corey. And I actually, before I bring up this question, there's this other book I read that I want you to read and talk about. It's called Atomic Habits. It's a very good book, just talking about how you can just pretty much work on things you want and like set goals. But from that book, it talks about to think about your most 5 minutes of your day that are most enjoyable to you. So first, like, what would you think that would be? What's your most enjoyable moment?
Ooh. The first thing that popped into my head was the most enjoyable 9 minutes of my day is when I hit the snooze button on my alarm.
Let's think of a different
but
one.
That's 9 minutes. You asked for 5.
Yes, I asked for 5.
Damn it. Boy, that's the answer that's going to come to mind here. This doesn't sound good, but it might be when I shut my computer down at the end of the workday, and I'm like feeling a sense of accomplishment in delivering the goods.
Yeah. So,
but I mean that really. Yeah. Now, as I say it out loud, it's like it makes me look like I'm just focused on work and nothing else.
Well, because the question that goes with that is, how can you extend that enjoyable 5 minutes? So, not sure how you could extend that. But for me, my most enjoyable 5 minutes is my morning coffee. I love a hot coffee in the morning, and sometimes I'll read a little devotion or something, and I just love that time. So it kind of brings up like whatever you enjoy, maybe to stretch that out a little bit more.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got me thinking. I don't even know how to answer that. Bill, how about you? You got a good 5 minutes in any day or not?
Wow. It varies by the day. I mean, and as you've noted, I'm considerably older than you, Corey.
I didn't say that. I just said a few birthdays.
You know what? It's crazy, but I've got I've got 3 grandkids, and 2 of them live near here. And when they come to visit, when they pop in, it's great when you let yourself just stop what you're doing and think, they're here. And it's just a really, really enjoyable time. The other one, it happens every day, and I'm with you, Grace. I get up early, and I'll go down and I'll sit and have a cup of coffee.
Oh, yes.
And I'll just sit and have the coffee, and sometimes I don't read anything. Sometimes I just sit there and drink the cup of coffee, and it's great.
Yeah, I think there's something about also reading. I think, like for me, you do it at your own pace. But if I'm sitting on my phone, it's like, it's a quick 15-second scroll, now 10-second, 5-second video, and it's like, it's almost not even your own pace. It just keeps going. But something like reading's the most enjoyable, or hanging out with family friends are enjoyable because it's not this quick pace. It's just sitting with them and relaxing.
So what I take from that is, maybe we shouldn't ruthlessly eliminate the hurry.
Yeah.
Maybe we should understand that there's going to be hurry, but try to appreciate and move beyond it to those other moments and really savor those.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that.
I totally agree with that, because there are just times in life, at least there have been times in my life where you had to hurry, But just for a sense of perspective, it's like very interesting to me because when I reflect back on time and I look at, and I look back 200 and 300 years ago at the pace of life at that point and the major moments of creativity and thought that occurred, they occurred during times when they weren't hurried. They would certainly think the pace that we live our life now is crazy most of the time.
That's a good point.
So trying to get, I'm going to have to read the book because I can't let the thought go. Trying to get rid of hurry, eliminating that hurry is, man, maybe the real value in ruthlessly eliminating hurry is that it's the journey of doing that makes you realize the other things that are really way more important.
Yeah,
Way
I
more
would agree.
important.
Yeah.
So I think he's just trying to make us stop and give us a little bit of perspective on where we are in terms of what we're doing and how we're living our life.
Yeah, and I think it also is at the end of the book, it just talks about, yes, like rest. And to rest may sound like, oh, I need to sleep more, but also like you can still do everything you need to do, but doing it in a way that's just more calm and not stressed out. Like you can rest while you're working. It depends on like the posture you're in, kind of.
Admitting the problem is step one.
Yes.
So we all know it's there, the hurry.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think the point is mindfulness, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I am a fan of being mindful, and it gets twisted around so much of the time when people are, you got to be mindful. It's like, and it just sounds just so weird, but it's not. When you stop to pause and realize the moment you're in and realize what's happening at that very minute, it's important because really and truly, here I go getting philosophical, that's the only thing you have. You don't own anything that in the past. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. The only moment you can be in is right now. So that, bringing a sense of that awareness probably is, I think, really, really profound. And I sense, Grace, from the way you're talking about the book, that's what he's encouraging people to do.
Yes. Yeah.
In an amazing way, we can now tie it into the Win podcast name. What's important right now?
Right. Exactly.
Funny how we do that, Bill. It's amazing.
What is important now is now. It's like, Corey, I sign off the podcast every week, every episode by saying, go out and live your best life today. Because see, if you don't live your best life right now, today, then when are you going to do it? Nothing is promised. Nothing is promised. So go out and live your best life today. What's important now? Left you speechless, didn't it?
Yeah, I didn't know if you were wrapping up or what we had going, so we're going to have to have the edit team on board. I'm good for my side.
That's great. Well, it's, bring Grace on more often. Maybe you don't wait till the 75th episode to bring her back.
To come back.
There you go.
Maybe next time we can talk about differences in, like, you live in the Midwest. Obviously, I'm from the Midwest, but now I'm in North Carolina 3 years. Talk about different areas.
All right. Geography.
Yes.
Well, I'm from Jersey, where everybody drives 85 miles an hour on a city street. So, we're immersed in hurry around here.
There you go.
Oh, gosh. Well, let's wrap this up with this idea. Corey, if anybody who has been listening to this wants to have more of this kind of conversation, they can. Or if they want to call you and just have a conversation about their finances and maybe getting a perspective on where they are financially in their life, how do people reach out and get a hold of you?
Yeah, give us a call. 800-657-4316.
That's great. Thanks as always, Corey. Always a fascinating and slightly different kind of podcast with you. I appreciate that very much. And listeners, I'm sure you do as well. So if you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. Just hit it. Then you don't have to remember when or where you heard it. The next episode, all the way through episode 100, 200, will be delivered to you for you to listen to and enjoy. And if you enjoy it, we really humbly ask that maybe you rate it and share it and spread the word about the podcast. On behalf of Corey and everybody at Heimensen Wealth, I'm Bill Tucker, reminding you to go out and live your best life today. It's the only one you have. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the WIN Podcast. What's important now? The show that helps you achieve your financial dreams. To ask questions about topics covered during the show or get a copy of Stop Doing Dumb Things with Your Money by Corey Heimensen, visit www.heimensenwealth.com or give us a call at 712-472-3867. Don't forget to click the follow button below to be notified when new episodes become available. Securities offered through Securities America Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Securities America Advisors Inc. Heimensen Wealth Advisors and Securities America are separate entities.